Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. I'm a little late in making a video today. Why is that, Dave? Because there's nothing to talk about. Well, if there's nothing to talk about, maybe just don't make any content. Don't be stupid. Let's get into it. Reality Steve responds. Here we're barrel scraping. He responds to the Not Skinny Not Fat podcast when they accused him of getting things wrong all the effing time. I'm going to share what they said, his response, and then we're going to play a clip of when Reality Steve was actually on their podcast 2 years earlier. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm going to be going live at 10 a.m. right after this. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content. And boy, we hit a record number yesterday on the new podcast, Bachelor Rush Hour. We hit a record number of downloads, so thank you guys all so much for being a part of that. I'm reading your reviews, your criticisms, and all the different things, and we're going to keep on making it the best dang afternoon daily podcast regarding the Bachelor niche you've ever seen. Okay, so let's play, first of all, what was said about Reality Steve when Caitlin Bristow was interviewed on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. Have a listen.
Emily Maynard vibes. And so when they called me to like talk about it, I was like, what? Because you know Reality Steve?
Yeah.
He like had said, this girl would never be the Bachelorette. She's so
He's
out
wrong
there.
all the fucking time.
He's wrong about my season too.
He's wrong all the time.
And so I was like, oh, okay, it's probably not me. So when they called, I was like, what?
So then when I listened to this, I was like, oh, I know Reality Steve is going to be commenting on it. I know he's going to be commenting, and certainly he did. So we're going to get to what he said right now. And then, we'll just, not to, objectively take a side here, but Reality Steve is the most accurate spoiler account for the longest period of time. Now, a broken clock is right twice a day. A blind squirrel still catches a nut. All those things. So other accounts have stumbled upon the winner. I mean, it's pretty easy to always discern who's the final 3 or 4, and then we could be, we love Jessica. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, someone's going to win, but he always comes out. I mean, he clearly has insider information. So let's hear what Reality Steve has to say as a response.
Caitlin being on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast with Amanda Hirsch and all the good content that was on there, somebody had brought to my attention and sent me the audio clip of Caitlin and Amanda briefly mentioning me. And it was in the discussion of Caitlin was talking about coming off Chris's season, didn't think that she would get the Bachelorette role. And what's funny is, in the context of what they were talking about, it makes what Amanda Hirsch, the podcast host, what she said almost even like she either wasn't paying attention or whatever the case may be. But basically, Caitlin was talking about she didn't think she was going to be the Bachelorette. And her specific words were, they're not going to pick an edgy, swearing Canadian that talks about sex all the time.
Which, of course, is a perfectly fine assumption. Why would they do that? A Canadian? Why would they break again? It's an American show.
Want the girl next door, the Emily Maynard vibes. And then she said, she goes, you know Reality Steve, right? And she says that to Amanda, and Amanda's like, oh yeah, he's fucking wrong all the time. And Caitlin was like, yeah, he was wrong about my season, and he was saying there's just no way that Caitlin's going to get the gig. And yes, at the time, I was saying that, but for the exact reasons that Caitlin thought she wasn't going to get it.
And as far as spoilers go, it's not like that was a spoiler. It's not like he was saying Sean Booth doesn't win, Nick Viall wins. Like, he was just offering his opinion before any contracts were signed.
You look at the previous Bachelorettes up to that point, they had never gone with anybody edgy. We had never seen a Bachelorette like that told sex jokes and sweared.
Tattoos.
And so, yeah, it's very easy to say now in 2023, oh my God, how did you not know they were going to pick Caitlin? Come on. Very few people thought they were going to pick her. And
look, and this isn't some crazy story. This is just, look, Podcast Wars. He makes a podcast every day. We make videos every day. This is a nice side story to be discussing in the Podcast Wars game where Reality Steve now apparently has beef with Not Skinny But Not Fat. And again, they didn't seem to have a problem with him when he was on their podcast 2 years ago. We'll play that clip in a minute.
If you remember correctly, as the season went on, because I was saying that in the beginning of the season. As the season went on, I started realizing, I bet you Caitlin is in the running. I didn't know if she was going to get it. I remember saying I found out, a couple days before that it was going to be both of them. But as I learned stuff and as the season went on and I start hearing stuff, I didn't keep saying till the very end, she's never going to get it. Yeah, in the beginning I did.
Never gonna get
And then Caitlin didn't think she was going to get it. So it was just weird because the other thing is I was on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast back in 2020. Amanda reached out to me, wanted me to be on.
No way. Let's have a listen.
And then they're like, but there's a catch.
Oh,
You're
wrong
going to
one.
be.
No way. Let's have a listen. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, here it is.
This season of The Bachelorette has
2020.
been a fucking shit show. And who better to come on and talk to me about it than, I was going to say the infamous, but that doesn't sound good. Reality Steve Carbone, thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is your, like, what is your life like right now with this crazy motherfucking season?
Whoa, the swear.
This is busy season for me just because we had 6 months off where I did nothing because there was nothing going on. But yeah, when the show is airing, that's when I'm busy because I write 3 columns or 2 columns a week and then a podcast every week as well.
And this was before he started the daily podcast. Reality Steve, busy man.
So when it's airing, yes, very busy because then when the show's airing, I'm also live tweeting. I'm putting it out on Instagram stories and Instagram posts. So yeah, it's a lot busier for me right now.
Do you only do this for the Bachelor Nation stuff, or do you do it for other shows too?
No, just this. I've only just been spoiling The Bachelor. It's coming up on this year is 11 years.
Wow.
So next come January, it'll be almost 12 that I've been doing the spoiling.
Wait, what was the first season then that you?
Okay, so anyway, we'll play a little bit of that at the end, but let's go back and listen to what Reality Steve has to say further.
She contacted me asking to come on her show. I thought it went fine. I don't think I've mentioned Amanda Hirsch or Not Skinny But Not Fat in the 3 years since I went on that podcast. And then again, this chick just goes in on me yesterday. Oh, he's wrong all the fucking time. That was her quote. I'm not making that up. I'm not exaggerating. He's wrong all the fucking time.
And by the way, what's funny is that Amanda talked about like how fragile male egos are. And I don't think Reality Steve's ego's fragile here. It's just like, if you're going to talk about me, I'm going to clap back. This is how the podcasting game works.
Again, I have no problem whatsoever if people don't like me or they don't like my site or they don't like
if I called Reality Steve a dick, which I'm not, he'd be like, what are you talking about? Dave talks to me all the time. I thought we had a good relation. You know what I mean? So like, of course it's like, what I thought it's almost like there was, I think it was a bachelor party or there's another podcast that was heavily criticizing Reality Steve. I'm sorry if I don't know who it was. It's like, all right, well, time to clap back. When I feel like I'm mischaracterized on Reddit, it's like, what are you guys talking about? That's not what happened at all. It's like the beauty of podcasting is the beauty of bandwidth and having the ability to defend yourself when you're accused of saying something or acting a certain way.
My podcast, for whatever reason. Now, if the reason they give is just, oh, I just don't like them. I mean, that's just stupid. It's like, back up what you're saying. But what's always been my biggest thing? What have I always told you people when it comes to either me or anybody that reports anything online? Be factually correct. So for you to say he's wrong all the fucking time is factually incorrect. And I know for a fact that there's zero chance Amanda Hirsch has followed my site every season and writes down my spoilers that are right and are wrong, and that's why she said he's wrong all the fucking time.
Wouldn't it be nice if Bachelor Data, hey Susanna, Bachelor Data, can you compile the accounts that do spoilers like Zachary Reality and Reality Steve? Can we get like a bar graph of how often someone's right or wrong, or like a batting average? We should have little baseball players cards. Steve's batting average is 789. Zachary Reality's 132. It'd just be nice.
Because
no offense to Zachary Reality, but Steve's got the highest batting average. He's he's in the 3 spot. He's getting on base. He's driving in runs. He's got a high. Whatever you get.
She looked at her list of all of Reality Steve spoilers and realized he's wrong more than he's right, which, as you know, people that actually follow me, that couldn't be further from the truth.
And I don't care if you think I'm pimping for Reality Steve.
I don't care if you think I'm pimping for Dave. I'm right way more than I am wrong. Have I been wrong? Of course. And I've always admitted when I'm wrong. I've never made excuses for being wrong. We've been over this 100 times. But just to hear something like that from somebody that actually reached out to you, me, 3 years ago so I could come on their podcast.
And who's doing better? He's got 5,800 ratings and a 4.3 rating, and she's got 4,100 ratings and a 4.5 rating. So it looks like he's got a bigger podcast than she does, as just by going by the ratings here.
Jason Mesnick.
So let's go back to 2 years ago.
On, just for fun. Just to make fun of it because it's such a silly, stupid show.
So here's Reality Steve just discussing 2 years ago about how he got started in Bachelor Nation spoiling.
And I did that from 03 to 09. And in 09, someone came to me who knew something about the Jason's ending and said, hey, I got some info. I know you write about the show. I know you've got kind of a following. Just want to let you know, here's what happens. I was like, oh, okay. So I put it out there a couple weeks before the finale, and I said, this is what you're going to see in the finale. And nobody had any real reason to believe me because I had never spoiled anything. I had just been writing about it. So it wasn't until it aired that I was vindicated.
How did you disclaim it? Were you like, spoiler alert? Like this was how you were?
Yeah, I told people, I said, I found out what the ending is going to be. And it's not what you normally think. Because normally it's just like, get down to 2 at the end of this. And the ending, the finale played out like normal finales. He sent Molly.
So he talks about the sort of origin story of how he got to the finale and started spoiling in the first place. What's interesting here is Reality Steve spoiling Tayshia's season. Hold on a second. He spoils Tayshia's season at the 37-minute mark. So let's listen to this and see how accurate this was, because this was given out before the show aired. So here's Reality Steve on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast spoiling Tayshia's season.
And as far as I know, the thing that I don't know right now is I know she chose Zach at the end.
True.
I don't know their status right now.
Okay, there it is. There's an accurate spoiler. So gets it right. What should have been said was he's wrong some of the time, but he gets it wrong more often than not. Okay, well, that's the episode here. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be live on Patreon right after this. Pretty light on the content. I do appreciate those that are sending me barrel scraping news to keep us going throughout the day. I'll have original podcast this afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour. Happy Friday, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit.